All right, the Runnin Rebels season has come to a stop. Year one under Coach Josh Pastner ends with a round 2 loss to Tulsa in the NIT. This time on Sin City Beat, we're diving deep in all things UNLV men's basketball. Let's go.
From Las Vegas, this is Sin City Beat.
Hello and welcome. Thanks so much for hanging out with us here on Sin City Beat. I'm your host, Mike Davis. Sin City Beat is the show that dissects the Vegas sports world through the eyes of the sports reporters and storytellers leading the charge. Lots to get to today as the Runnin Rebels season comes to an end after a round 2 loss in Tulsa in the NIT. Now, joining the action today on the panel, we have Ray Brewer, managing editor of the Las Vegas Sun, Tony Cordasco, host with Odyssey Las Vegas, and former Runnin Rebel, Shakur Justin. Great to have you guys here with us. We appreciate it. So the 2026 season came to a close last night in Tulsa, Oklahoma, as the shorthanded Runnin Rebels lost to the number 1 seeded Golden Hurricanes 77-66. So UNLV's leading rebounder, Howie Fleming Jr., he was out with an ankle injury. Even though the guys had a slow start, going 3 for 13 from the field, the Rebels went into the half trailing only 36-24. But then a 10-0 run early in the second, it gave us some hope, and the tide started to shift, but ultimately it wasn't enough. Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn finished with 29 points. Meanwhile, my man, Tyron Jones, had a huge game, filling the stat sheet with 18 points, 8 boards, 7 assists, plus 3 blocks and 3 steals. So, Ray, initial reaction to yesterday's loss. Did you think they were going to pull it out? Did you start to get hope?
Well, I would say that thankfully the season's over. I just
Thankfully?
Listen, the Howie Fleming injury was the latest of just a wide range. When you're only going into a tournament game with 6 players, and you've kind of developed your guys already, now I think what's important is keeping the roster together. And I don't know how jumping on planes and going to different cities is going to really help get that roster together. I think Pastner right now needs to be focused on what holes do I need to fill, what players could I keep, who could I attract to come here to fill some voids? And, you know, a season marred by injuries ends, and I think it was our appetite is definitely there for more of what Josh Pastner has built.
And I think Tyron Jones and Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn gave us a lot of that. But listen, we'd even get to see Miles Che. He was going to be a big part at point guard coming from, Cal. So it was going to be exciting to see a bunch of these guys. But, let's talk about this, Shakur, because you know what it's like when you go down a guy like Howie Fleming Jr. What missing him, and when you start missing big key contributors, what happens in the locker room? How does that affect just your belief in yourself and your team that you can pull this out?
Usually goes one or two ways. Everyone gets down and see the player out and don't think they can do anything about it, or teams kind of like all like unisex together and just dig it out. Next player up mentality. It's very tough losing a player, especially in a crucial moment of the season. It's kind of hard, especially when they finally clicking. A lot of the times teams are good. They just need that one game to like really show their identity in the tournament and go a long way. When you down a player, it's really tough, but it's possible. You just got to really come together. Whoever was that next man in that position got to, take that load, even if he haven't played that much this season. They still got to come in ready. And that's what's good about being prepared when you're not playing, because that opportunity is going to come, it's going to present itself, and you got to know the plays, you got to know the defense, you got to know everything for when that presents itself. You just like another card in,
Right, it's true, and it's Tony, it's so crushing, because I think we started to see, like Ray's saying, that appetite for this team. You start seeing the flashes, just the type of game that Tyron Jones had, where he's filling the stat sheet, doing everything. He's electrifying. He almost looks like the most exciting player on the floor at all times. And then for Dre to come in and 29 points. I mean, these guys, you could see how he was sweating. They were really in this 110%. Did you have any faith that, hey, you know what, even prior to this game, momentum-wise, they could really win this baby, and maybe winning the NIT would give them a little bit of juice for next year?
No, I would much rather that they stayed here for the crown tournament.
Really?
Yeah, and then you get a chance to stay at home. You're playing for NIL money. I think I told you last week, I've followed Tulsa throughout the course of the season. For some odd reason, I saw them on TV a bunch. and I just thought that they were too up-tempo. They didn't play their game. They were not in their rhythm yesterday. Again, give credit to UNLV, I think, because they sort of took them out. They played their best, one of their best defensive games, I felt, even though it was a loss to Tulsa.
Yeah.
And watch out, Ray. You're sandwiched by two guys from Newark. You just better watch out.
Hey,
Your airport's closed, Ray.
and I'm South Jersey too. So I mean, I'm not Newark, but I'm South Jersey.
He
so
gets out of hand.
We got a lot
got
of
you.
New Jersey on this panel today. So I do think it's crushing, especially also seeing, this is what's so crazy. 2 wins against Utah State, and look how they've been playing in the tournament, Ray. I mean, they got some runs where they were going to take down some major contenders in March Madness. So, I mean, this team, maybe they really did have a lot more juice than we even expected, because I didn't think Utah State would play the way they played. They ultimately got bounced, but UNLV took them down twice.
I hate the what if in sports, right? What if, blah, blah, blah. I think with UNLV basketball this year, Mike, the what if does play, because that wasn't the lineup they envisioned. And Dre Gibbs-Longhorn became a star, and he was playing out of position the whole season. Mm-hmm. So if he was playing shooting guard like he was supposed to play all year,
right.
if Miles Chin wasn't hurt, if they were down to one post player last night against Tulsa, how does that work if all of the guys Josh Pastner recruited are eligible and healthy and ready to go? And I think, moreover, what we learned this year about Pastner is I think the guy comes in with all this energy, and you maybe get distracted of what kind of developer and coach he was. But if you look at their top 3 guys, Jones, Gibbs-Longhorn, and arguably Williamson,
phenomenal.
They went from here all to here. Now on the back end, you could look at a guy like Nas Cunningham, who went here
backwards.
and went the other way.
So you're saying that has a lot. It says a lot about Coach Pastner and the job he did developing these guys to the next level from first week of the season to where we are now, round 2.
This was a skeleton crew that beat Utah State twice, that had a great win against Reno here at home, finished 18-17,
beat Stanford,
but at the same time
won at Memphis. I don't care how down they were.
Listen, we got to go to break. But when Ray Brewer is the positive guy on the panel, you know it's going to be a good show. Okay, we're taking a look inside our crystal ball to see what moves UNLV has to do next year to make it an even more successful season. Stay tuned.
You're watching Sin City Beat.
All right, well, it seems as if the Runnin Rebels have some positive momentum going with Dre Gibbs-Longhorn and Tyron Jones developing into budding superstars. So let's just say for a second, I know Ray doesn't like ifs, but let's just say if UNLV retains them, how does this program get to the next level? I'm talking competing in March Madness. That's what I want to know about. So Shakur, tell us, what does this team need to do to actually be competing where, hey, we're looking at this week, fast forward next year, and they're getting ready to play in the Sweet 16. What are the types of things on the floor that this team needs to get better at so that could be a reality?
I feel like on the court they're not that bad.
Really?
They're not bad to me on the court. I'm not going to say not that bad. They're not bad to me on the court. They play with a lot of energy, a lot of heart. You're going to miss and make some shots there. Bad defensive possessions, offensive possessions. I just feel like what he was saying was pretty much they didn't have a full roster that they imagined all year. What if they did? Right. I feel like that would have been a good thing. Now, going forward, they could just keep the same pedigree, try to recruit the same type of players, if not a little bit more, sad to say now, a little bit more age, a little bit more maturity.
Okay,
if they find some, mix in some maturity with youngness to where it's like an NBA team. You got your vets, you got your newcomers, kind of help keep everybody at float. It would be very good.
I like that. Yeah, I mean, because we've seen it with Arizona, what they've been doing. Jaden, he's a guy who's a senior. Then you got Koa Pete, who's a stunning freshman. So having that mixture, we saw Patino, he won't even go after youngsters. It's all older seniors.
I think it's because of the NIL. It plays in a big factor of we can keep older guys now. And then you have the rule, some people come back. Now you can get the veterans that maybe don't have the opportunity to go overseas or go to the NBA. Now you can come back, you can play, you got an extra year,
right.
You're getting paid for it, and you can help out the younger guys.
And you were in the era before NIL, and still you had Hutchinson, you had UNLV, you had Oregon, so you were moving around even before that era of stuff. Ray, to me, the big thing with this team is we saw some highs, we saw some lows. The big thing that's missing is the consistency. We need this team to play, like an Oreo cookie. You always know what you're getting when you open up that box of Oreos. It's going to be the same consistent cookie. Sometimes this team would beat the best, they'd beat Stanford and then they'd lose to a team you can't believe. So how do we establish that consistency?
Could I be negative for a minute?
Yes.
I know that I was positive and it shocked me.
That's fine.
Bit. But look at the Sweet 16. All the teams minus St. John's playing big conferences. Last year, same story. If UNLV were to make a Sweet 16 ever again, they ought to build the statue of whoever the coach is next to.
You're just saying it's not a reality in the Mountain West.
I just think in the NIL era, like Utah State allegedly upped its budget from $800,000 to $2.2 million.
And we saw the difference.
And you saw the difference. UNLV traditionally hasn't spent its NIL budget well. They've put half of their budget to like a DJ Thomas. DJ Thomas gets hurt. What happens, right? Jalen Hill, they put some money into. Jalen Hill goes from Oklahoma to UNLV to the injured list.
So you're saying there's no more Cinderella. We're not going to see that Cinderella story anymore in the March Madness because of the age of NIL?
Correct. And if UNLV wants to be in a Sweet 16, it's going to cost you $2.5 to $3 million. They don't have that kind of money. And then you talk about your two guys, Tyron Jones and Dre Gibbs-Lahorn. Are they going to come back? Are they going to continue to develop here? Tyron Jones is going to demand a lot of money. He's long, athletic, and very, very good. And some blue bloods are going to come.
And when you watch him play, it's like you could almost see he's not even matured into his body.
Correct.
He looks like he's still so young. Like he doesn't even he has 2 or 3 more levels I think he can hit, which is pretty impressive.
He's so long, he could be sitting here, Mike, and he could comb your hair. Literally, that's how long he is.
You know what? We got to see if he could do that. Now, Tony, we're even going to get to you in this block. I got to go to break, but in between, start hitting up all.
You're stealing my syllables again.
We're going to get to you first. Coming up next. In school, we all strive for A+ grades, correct? Well, we're going to grade Coach Josh Pastner's first season, his inaugural season with UNLV. Let's see what the panel has to give him as a grade when Sin City Beat returns. Josh Pastner had quite the challenge entering his first season at UNLV with 13 new players on the roster, still finishing with a winning record, a win in the NIT tournament. Some have to probably consider Pastner's first season a success. So Tony, I want to know what grade you would give Josh Pastner after year 1.
Well, first of all, I have to get my 2 cents in, and Ray was talking. Ray, that's not negative, that's reality, right, with NIL and what have you. And UNLV just lost Joe Philon, the 6'8" kid who had a great visit here. He went to UCLA, and Mick Cronin's complaining about a lack of NIL money there.
Well, Mick Cronin's a maniac.
Yeah, of course, we know that. But in any event, what's the grade going to be? I mean, all things considered, it's got to be in the range of a B. He did take over the team late. He did have a rash of injuries. You didn't even mention Laji Dembele, who is a big, wide body and a strong guy that would have helped them immensely there, as far as rebounding and altering shots, I think, in the post. So I have to give him definitely a B, a B grade. I think that's fair. I just want him to kind of slow down just a little bit in the pressers, quit complaining about injuries. It's a fact of life. Enough of the free parking. Free parking. Come on out to the Thomas and Mack. There's free parking.
But the thing is, you know what? He's authentic in the way that he acts. And
he's
I think
like
that's
P.T. Barnum at times.
But that's all you can ask for a coach. Because, I mean, Shakur, you know this. Every athlete of all time, when a coach is not authentic, with his players, you can sniff that in 2 seconds. You know if a guy cares about you or doesn't care about you. You were saying off camera, I feel okay sharing it. You said, at Hutchinson, you're a JUCO kid. You won MVP, you won JUCO championship, I believe. You had everybody coming to recruit you. But former Runnin Rebels coach, Marvin Menzies, he not only spoke to you as a basketball player, but as a human being, as a person. And that influenced your decision. So you know what it takes to be a coach who connects to his players.
Yeah, for sure.
How do you think Pastner did this season connecting to his team?
I've seen him a lot fired up. I love that in a coach. A lot of players don't like that when a coach comes get on you or hold you accountable. I love that, man. It kind of refuels that he cares. Because if I walk over there and I got a mistake and he subbed me out and you just, hey, yeah, go sit down. I'm not going to say you don't care, but it shows some type of okay.
You like the passion.
I like the passion. Someone told me as a coach when I was younger, if I don't say nothing to you, that's the problem.
Right. If the indifference is even worse than being screamed at.
Yeah, because it's like I'm pushing you, not pushing you to the side, but all right, you good. I'm going to focus on everybody else. But him, I seen him fired up. I seen him very coaching, very into the game as if the players. That's what makes Tyron. Sometimes if you see it, it kind of piggybacks off the coach's energy.
Yeah.
He might pull him over, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, but he's talking to him man to man. It's not the message. I mean, it's not the tone of the voice, the everything that's going on. Is get the message first. Right. And I feel like I would give him a solid B as well.
Let me ask you this, because we got about a minute left. I want to get your grade very quickly, but I got to ask you a follow-up here. In college basketball, I feel like this is one of the few sports left, specifically where coaching makes a huge difference. We see a lot of these institutions that are in the Sweet 16. It's because of coaching. Would you say in college basketball, Pastner, not just the players on the court, how much impact does a coach and their scheme, their X's and O's, the way they're approaching the game, how much of an impact does that directly have on success? College basketball.
Before the sport, he's a mentor to all the kids.
Yeah.
We look up to the coach. We respect the coach. He's putting us in position to be successful or as somewhat better than what we were before. His X and O's rely on the players as well. I mean, the coach, we used to always say the coach can't do nothing but put the X's and O's on the paper and try to make us do it to the best of our ability. It's really up to the kids now to really dial in, and that goes with the coach. If the coach is more accessible, more we connect different, the X's and O's make perfect math.
All right. That makes a lot of sense. Real quick, just I need the letter grade.
C+.
C+. There you go. All right, we're gonna go to the break. The key for next season, the number one key, it's retaining Tyron Jones and Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn. Can they do it? The panel has their prediction next. Welcome back to Sin City Beat. Well, the college basketball landscape has shifted dramatically since the emergence of NIL, name, image, likeness. Now, from retaining players to utilizing the transfer portal, success on the court really comes down to more than just the X's and the O's. So, Ray, your prediction, will Tyron Jones and Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn be Runnin Rebels next season?
Let's go with the easy one for me. I think Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn stays. I think that we've seen in the last few games when he is guarded real well and the competition gets a little better, he's not as good as he was against some of the middle-tier teams in the Mountain West where he was scoring 30-some points a game. I think with a true point guard, he will thrive. I think he knows that by being here, he's going to be on the court for 40 minutes. He's going to put up good numbers, and that's going to enhance his pro stock. He was already at Illinois, a higher tier conference.
Right.
He struggled to get on the floor. At this stage in his game, he's got enough of video to merit a big NIL raise and to trick UNLV to paying him more. He has to stay for his pro stock. That's what his advisors will tell him.
And that's the big thing. At Illinois, he's playing, behind lottery-level guys.
Mm-hmm.
Wagler, he's not getting on the court. Wagler's going to be a lottery pick this year. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a 6'6" freshman. It's going to be hard to get on the court with him. So,
And Jones, for me, is no way you keep him.
Yeah.
If you go on Twitter or X or whatever they want to call it, everybody's talking about top guys available in the portal. He's going to demand a big payment from a major university, and that's a shame because from game 1 to game 36,
his development
was out of control. Good. He's very coachable. You see it on the sidelines.
Yeah, you got to give credit to Pastor for that, but you also got to give credit to Tyron for that as well. What about you? Do any of these guys stay on the team, you think?
So a source told me this weekend that Dre Gibbs Lawhorn is getting a lot of interest. Some high mid-majors are after him.
People always need a guy who can put the ball in the bucket.
Can UNLV pay $300,000? I mean, I don't know where they're at right now.
That's half of what they gave DJ. Of course they can.
Of course. But how do they divide it all up? I know his eyes are popping there because he deserved the bag. Back
what's your take on all? I mean,
but then Tyron again, he's out there on the mark. Hey, if Xavier Staten got $1 million at BYU, I think this kid is a lot more raw, and I think he could be molded into something much better. Maybe BYU, who knows? But I think they're coming.
Tyron could get a lot. What do you think? What's their market for these guys?
It's really hard to say, man.
He's doing math.
I was never in this position. I would have loved.
You would love to be.
Yeah, and I'm not one of the older guys to be like, "Oh, these kids, they don't deserve."
I wanted to be your
agent,
so
happy that somebody is getting,
right.
You know. But if they can, because I know negotiation for Tyron is going to be big.
Yeah.
If they can find some way to do it, why not?
Yeah.
You know, why not? You already know what you're getting with them. You might as well just if you keep these two, you know, build around them. Make sure these guys are complimented.
What if your budget's a $2 million? You give him $1 million. Are you giving 50% of your budget to one?
No one's getting $1 million.
I think you got to spread it out.
We got to wrap. We got to spread the wealth, just like we spread the wealth here on this panel. I just want to thank Tony, Ray, Shakur. Thank you guys so much. I'm Mike Davis. We'll see you next time here on Sin City Beat. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Have a great rest of the week, everybody.